Morning, Jamaica. Prayers up. Let's start with JPS, which I know is on everybody's mind. The electricity grid has already been impacted by hurricane conditions, which have caused several power outages across the island. Several generation units, critical high-voltage substations, transmission and distribution lines across the island have been forced out of service by the hurricane-force winds and lightning. As a result, approximately 240,000 or 35% of JPS customers are without power. That's out of a possible 700,000. Mainly in the parishes of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, St. James, and Hanover. The status generation, there is adequate firm generation online to serve our customers. No renewables are available. As I said before, customers impacted, more than 75% of the customers in St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Hanover, and St. James are affected without electricity. The least impacted parishes, with less than 10% of customers impacted, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew, and St. Catherine. The majority of hospitals continue to be supplied with JPS power, except those in Manchester and St. Elizabeth, such as Black River, Mandeville, and Percy Junior Hospital. But I can confirm that they are operating on standby power, generator power. There is no plan at this point to shut down the grid. JPS crews continue to respond and restore critical facilities and customers where it is safe to do so. In the meantime, JPS is reminding customers to stay safe and take precautions to protect life and property. And most importantly, stay tuned to official channels of information, which include government and JPS, for further updates. As it relates to our telcos, I'll start with Digicel. 26% of mobile network is offline, predominantly due to the widespread loss of power. There's a further 209 sites running on generators and 9 on batteries. For fiber-to-home customers, we are seeing 20% customers offline due to no power in their homes. As we see the most impacted areas, we will work with our crews to focus on those areas first. Even if commercial power is still to be restored, we will keep generators fueled and gas the sites back to keep them up and running. They are also confirming that also in aid in recovery, we are working with the SMA to increase our spectrum bandwidth channels, as we know from our experience from Hurricane Beryl that the mobile infrastructure will be recovered much quicker than the fixed. So just to indicate that I, this morning at 3 o'clock, signed licenses for additional spectrum for Flow, Liberty Caribbean, and I'm awaiting Digicel to give them the same. For Flow, I'm happy to say that Liberty Caribbean, operators of Flow, Jamaica, and Liberty Business is committed to playing its part for Jamaica to recover quickly from the inevitable damage following the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Again, with the spectrum that they have received, they will be bringing a new innovation, mobile connectivity via satellite, and facilitates SMS and text messages to areas affected in the aftermath of the storm. So this partnership promises to seamlessly enable 4G LTE mobile customers to send texts to their family and friends, even when the local network services may be interrupted. So that's huge, very huge. And this collaboration with Starlink reflects a deep commitment to the Caribbean and protecting Jamaica. So we look forward for that. And we also look forward for Digicel to do the same, which will give us a lot more ability to communicate and to recover as quickly as possible. This one is the big important one now, and that is the airports. Based on my consultations with PACAL and the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, about the timeline for the Norman Manley International Airport to accommodate emergency relief flights after the passage of Hurricane Melissa. The assumption is that the system will leave Jamaica by the end of today, Tuesday, October 28th, and that the impact on the Norman Manley International Airport is not extensive. Both PACAL and JCA will use tomorrow, October 29th, to inspect and clean up the facility and restore the test equipment that have been decommissioned to accommodate flights. These emergency relief flights could therefore be accommodated as early as Thursday, October 30th, 2025. Again, we are not sure what's going to happen with Montego Bay, who will face at least a lower category, possibly category 3. So we aren't able to say anything on Sangster, but we know that it could have potential disabling impact for that airport. The good news is that the Ian Fleming International Airport is being considered as a part of contingency planning. So it means that we could get into Ian Fleming with certain types of aircrafts, and that will help us significantly based on the distance between Ian Fleming and Montego Bay. Petrojam, following another meeting this morning of the refinery, Petrojam is turning its attention to deepening participation in the broader national multi-agency response. Fuel security plays a key role, as we know, and Petrojam is assuring that all 3 international airports, in addition to all airdromes, are at 75 to 80% capacity for aviation fuel. This will enable aircraft movement to resume immediately. In addition, Petrojam has 2 to 3 weeks supply of aviation fuel at its Kingston and Montego Bay storage facilities. So in accordance with international standards, we will follow strict safe storage and rigorous testing prior to reopening. Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, the microwave system is in general is operational, with the exception of the links between Winchester headquarters and Catherine Peak, which is currently offline. All remote sites are operating on generator power. So this means that we will be able to accommodate relief flights, which the requests are coming in fast and furious. And as I said before, we spoke about Airports Authority. Finally, I'll just give an update on JUTC. And that was up to 9 o'clock last night, reporting 361 persons that were taken to shelters in several parishes. All road operations for JUTC ceased last night, with the exception of transport assistance being provided to essential services staff, such as hospital workers. JUTC's emergency standby teams remain in place at all depots. We will have some kind of disruption to some of the buses, because those buses that use CNG will not be able to be fueled immediately due to the fact that the plant has been decommissioned. But let me close by saying, once again, that government, as you have heard and will hear from Minister Mackenzie, we are dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's to make sure that we facilitate all that is required for the response that is going to come in relation to the rebuilding phase after this catastrophic hurricane. So I want to just say to you, those of you who are still not taking it serious, you have but a few hours. And as I said before, based on what Evan said, the low-lying areas are going to be badly affected. Seek to go to higher ground and protect yourself and be smart. Again, commit to be here right through. And of course, if we work together, we will get through this once again. God bless Jamaica and keep safe.